The way you prevent this from happening is you find out who did it, you prosecute them, and you sentence them to death, and by God, you carry out the death sentence. That's how you prevent crimes like this from happening.
It's a Georgia mystery, and after months of investigation, theories, and speculation, the gruesome murders of an elderly Eatonton couple remain unsolved. As time goes by, the case becomes colder, and chances at solving this gruesome riddle of a murder disappear as quickly as the minutes pass. In this edition of Georgia Mysteries, Eagle News and Entertainment visits Eatonton, Georgia, and we explore theories on why someone may have wanted to murder Russell and Shirley Durman.
I don't know that Georgia's ever seen anything like this. Decapitation murder is a rare thing in America. I mean, anywhere, much less Putnam County or Georgia.
Putnam County Sheriff Howard Sills joins the FBI in investigating the cold case murders of Eatonton couple Russell and Shirley Durman.
I mean, just sweet, gentle, kind, loving people, considerate, very active in their church. We don't know.
The well-respected elderly couple lived peacefully in the Great Waters community of the Reynolds Plantation in Putnam County. But by the end of a warm night this past May, the peaceful lakefront community would be shaken to its core as 88-year-old Russell would soon be found decapitated in his garage. His wife Shirley would go missing.
Their money wasn't taken. Their son went to their safety deposit box. Everything. Nothing was taken. Nothing was harmed. And they have beautiful things. I mean, a beautiful house. Like he said, the sheriff will tell you the same. Rolex watches laying around. Nothing was taken.
This house was pristine, and I mean, probably the cleanest home I've ever seen. Probably after investigating these people all these days, they were probably some of the most organized people I ever saw, both in their personal life, their personal habits, and in their finances and things like that. There's nothing that would be traditionally taken in a theft or burglary missing. Not only that, there's nothing disturbed.
He was dead before he was beheaded. The scene itself, looking at the scene, lends itself to the fact that he was dead at the time, because you don't have, the scene was not in a disarray. It was a more contained scene. It didn't lend itself to being any violence there as far as blood splatter.
The Durmans were native of New Jersey, where Russell owned more than 30 Wendy's restaurants.
I think he sold some and turned the others over to his sons, his two sons, the ones in Florida.
They've been totally cooperative. You know, I mean, they're the only people to stand the benefit of their demise. But I mean, while these were well-to-do people, they were hardly phenomenally rich or anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were better off than the sheriff financially, but they were not what I would consider phenomenally wealthy. They were comfortable and had adequate resources. They had a nice home, the county valued a little over $1 million, but it certainly won't sell, I don't think, anytime soon.
A third son, Mark Durman, was murdered in 2000.
He was killed in Atlanta, and I think they moved down here. I think that's one of the reasons they moved down here. After he was killed, they kind of moved down here. And yeah, they talked. They had just been up to visit their daughter and her family not too long prior to this accident.
The last time the Durmans were seen was early in the week they were murdered. Russell was last seen at the Publix in the Lake Oconee Village Shopping Center, and the last sighting of Shirley was at the Plaza Arts Center by the Eatonton Duplicate Bridge Club.
The former president had been president for quite a while, and she was so glad to have somebody take over. In fact, we kind of had to coerce Shirley to take the presidency, but she did such a good job. She really was good, because we were going through some rental problems and things, and she was handling it very well.
A few days later, the couple was a no-show at a Kentucky Derby party, and then on Tuesday, May 6th, a neighbor went to check.
The man that happened to find his body, he helped him learn to read again after he had a stroke, because he was having a very hard time, and Russ went every day and helped him to learn to read again. And he didn't play a lot of golf. They both had bad knees and knee surgery and, you know, all that stuff as you get old. But the best people in the whole wide world, and would do anything for you without even being asked. Just special, special people, you know.
There were no signs of struggle, nor was there any sign of Shirley. Miss Durman's purse and cell phone were still in the home, as were Russell's belongings. A reward was offered for the information leading to the recovery of Shirley Durman, but some 2 weeks after Russell was found, her body was found in Lake Oconee waters near Wallace Dam.
She was struck in the head by something and crushed. That was the cause of death. It was a blunt force trauma to the head. Other than that, there was no evidence of any trauma being done to her anywhere. It was strictly unremarkable.
Why were the Durmans chosen for this horrific crime? Why was it done the way it was?
Was there no forced entry because the murderers knew the couple and had keys to the house? Or was there no forced entry because Russell and Shirley left the doors unlocked? Why was Russell's head taken, and why hasn't it shown up if Shirley's whole body was found? Was it because the murders were a hit, or was the head taken because the bullet lodged in the brain and the perpetrators knew ballistics would trace back to a certain gun? Why was no ransom demanded for Shirley? Did the murderers arrive at the Durman home by water, or were the murders staged to seem that they had came by water?
I mean, all these questions, and of course we all have think of how we did. My husband and I think that people came up from the lake for the dock, because their dock is very secluded, and there's rumors, quote, quote, rumors, that conversation was heard about 6 o'clock on Friday night. Well, you know, we don't know that. We don't know for sure. They can't confirm it, or at least that's what the sheriff said. So, but yes, we think, how did this happen? Could it happen to us? Why the Durmans? And they didn't take anything. Nothing was messed up. Shirley's purse was on the counter with her glasses and her car keys. Nobody knows.
And what if they were wrongly targeted?
And then somebody said, well, maybe it was the wrong house. Well, then that really makes you stop and think, if it was the wrong house, whose was it supposed to be?
It's mind-boggling, really. There's so many different scenarios it could be. And I know the sheriff is about to pull his hair out trying to figure it out. It's a tough case.
I think that whomever did it knew with whom he was dealing.
If we were on the beach at Tybee and you lost your ring by the lifeguard stand, we'd look around the lifeguard stand. But when nobody tells us where the ring is, we're sifting the sand from the river to the southernmost point of the island, and to a great extent, we're sifting sand.
A $30,000 reward remains in place for the information leading to the person or people who decapitated Russell Durman and bludgeoned his wife Shirley to death, dumping her body in the lake. But as days pass, another Georgia mystery gets cold. For Eagle News and Entertainment, I'm Keeli Smith.